Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony. Thank you so much for watching us live right now on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com, and also go find us on the Instagram and the Twitter at Hollywood Matrimony. Hey, babe. Check out our website, Hollywood Matrimony. Wow, that's very loud.
Shut up.
You shut it. All right, friends. We have movies to talk about. I know that's why you're here. I am excited.
Do you think that's why they're here, or do you think they just come to see what nonsense we're battling on about, or to see how stupid we look?
Maybe that. And that's okay. I'll take it.
Why ever you're here, welcome.
Welcome. Okay, I want to share, but it's not letting me. More options. How do I share? Why is this doing this now? I just want to share.
We'll share them.
Oh my gosh. This is just so difficult. See, it's doing this weird thing where it's not letting me be me. There we go. I had to switch profiles. I'm way too fancy.
The person just shared, totally not related, but as I'm putting things and change things, it says, I present to you the second ever truly valuable life hack I have found on the internet. How to keep the seat next to you empty on a plane or a bus. And as people are coming on, the person is literally just sitting there like going, like each person like patting the seat, like sit here. And so everybody just keep passing them. Like that might actually work because people think you're creepy.
Oh, we can try it next time we're on a plane. How about that?
Gets me all concerned because I saw somebody just post that their Southwest flight was canceled. Remember to drive back from somewhere.
Well, coming back's never an issue to me. It's getting there on time. But
we can adjust coming back.
Yeah,
we've driven back from Chicago.
We've driven back from crazy places.
Yeah, so
we've been around the world, man. I like driving. It doesn't bother me.
I thought you were gonna go. I've been around the world. I
can't find my baby.
All right, let's go. What are you doing over there, stupid?
I'm telling everybody to come watch the show.
You know those people ain't coming to watch the show.
I know, but even if they do, they're haters. All right, friends. What do you want to start with, babe?
I don't care. You tell me.
My computer's going crazy.
You're the one over there fighting technical whatever drama.
You want to just start here?
I don't care. Whatever.
All right. Let's start there. All right. This is a movie we've been mentioning for the past few weeks as one of our contest giveaways on our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. And we're now going to talk about the movie Baby Assassins.
It is not about little babies assassinating people.
No.
Or babies that are assholes.
Or babies getting assassinated, because that's rude.
Although that might be a fun movie to watch.
But only if the babies get to fight back.
Like no, not even that. It's like just the context of why do you need to assassinate a baby? What has that baby done?
Maybe it's an evil baby, because like the Omen, and they have to kill it.
You bring that up and say things like that. Like there's some babies that I think might need to be some good assassinating.
Oh my gosh, they're babies.
Like you think about some of these babies' behavior sometimes. Like
is this like going back in time and killing baby Hitler or something?
No. I'm talking about just a generic kid that might have like flipped you the bird.
Oh, whatever. Now you're going crazy.
Soup on you.
That's again, they're evil babies like the Omen. Never mind. Move on.
That's not this movie.
No, this movie. Okay, so it's a Japanese film, and don't be all like, I don't watch movies with subtitles. Deal with it.
Yikes!
Don't be that person. What is it about?
It's an action martial arts-ish film.
It's a comedy, I feel like.
Yeah, it's also a dark comedy. It's about these two teenage girls who live together, who happen to be assassins, but they're also having to figure out how to live in the real world.
Yes.
So it's kind of in this amalgamation of they have missions that they go on, but it's also their daily life, and it's them trying to figure out how do we live like normal people, do our jobs when in reality all they can think about is killing people. And so that's where some of the comedy comes through, but they also have some pretty well done action moments in the film too. Like many movies in the genre from Asian cinema, it's bizarre and all over the place.
Correct.
So it's one of those that if you're not somebody that watches anything other than like the big mainstream, maybe foreign related films like Ip Man and things like that, Those are very linear. They work really well. Typical, especially Japanese films,
Yes.
a lot of times are all over the place. They're strange. They're weird. They're quirky. Sometimes they're hard to follow. Sometimes things don't make sense, and a lot of that is a cultural thing that we may not connect with. Even though if you really pay attention, you can understand what's happening. It's just like, why?
Yeah, but that's how come I knew it was Japanese, because immediately, like the first scene, it goes down this path and then it comes back and it starts over.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this has got to be one of those Japanese movies.
Yeah, it's one of those that's
and then
non-linear.
suddenly
So like,
they said
different...
something about the Yakuza, and I was like, okay, Japanese.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments where it walks through this whole scene and then it circles back, or then it goes back to get them to where we're at here. And so you do have to kind of keep up with it.
You have to pay attention.
This one can get confusing. I enjoyed the film, but it was also a lot of it worked and a lot of it didn't for me.
Yes.
I think there's some great action in it, and I found it intriguing watching them just try to live together. But that's also when it kind of got mundane.
Yeah, but in a way, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, there's parts of it where it's just like, okay. But then the funny parts, like you said, is them just trying, like she's at work and somebody makes her mad. So she goes through this whole vivid thing of like, this is how I would assassinate them.
Yeah.
You know, and get away with it. Which I think normal people, we can kind of relate to, the weird fantasy thing.
I mean, I've had fantasies of hook kicking somebody on their side of their face.
Right. Be like, this foot is going to go on that side of your head.
That's right, Billy Jack.
But
did you know I thought about it in a class today. This is totally not related to that, but it talked about hitting and weird thoughts and stuff. That me and one of my friends growing up, that we came up together in martial arts. We used to high five, but high five with hook kicks. We'd say something or do something in class, and we'd both like turn around and be like, psh.
Wow. Anyways,
I don't know why I thought about it during class today when I was teaching, and I was gonna say something I didn't, and then I had to get it out. All right, sorry.
I think some people are not gonna like this because there are the weird things that they do culturally, like the one scene in the restaurant where the guy's like, "I'd like a coffee," and she's like, "No, but you have to read it the way the menu says, and you have to do da 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 coffee." Yeah. And that's the only way you can order food. And I'm like, I would go crazy if that's how the real restaurant really worked. But there are those things there, or people dressed up in cat costumes, or people dressed like maids or whatever.
It's like on the Magic Time Machine here.
Correct. So I think a lot of maybe the cultural stuff may be off-putting because it does go on for a long time.
Yeah. There's a lot of downtime. It's not like the action that's here there's a lot when it's happening.
Yes.
But there's a long time when it doesn't happen. And that's kind of part of the misleading aspect, because when you talk about a movie about assassins, you assume there's going to be a little bit more to it. Once it gets to like the final act and there's the big fights and all that stuff, like there's one fight between one girl and I guess the bad guy, if you want to call it that. Yeah. Like, none of them are good people in this movie.
Everybody's horrible.
But it's a good fight. It goes on for a while and it's entertaining and it works. And then there's, there are some funny moments, but it's dry, dark humor, so it's not funny from a standpoint of like a standard comedy.
It's not funny, haha.
Yeah, like well, it is haha, but it just depends on how you connect with
I think it's
jokes.
funny, like
well, and there's some of it
sarcastic.
On, like, do you find
comedy
this kind of thing funny?
Yes.
Because some people can find stuff that they don't find it funny at all. They just look at you. And, and we all have that humor aspect of
many things,
because it's all subjective. So, you laugh at things. I'm like, why are you laughing?
Like my funniest thing in movies,
somebody getting run over
by a car. It makes absolutely no sense, but I find it hilarious. And I laugh every time.
Exactly what you'll know she's in the theater if you're ever watching out for her. If it happens, you'll hear, ha ha! It's that sound. That's the sound she makes.
It's like, ha ha, they got it. Yeah, I don't know. I find it hilarious. So
it's one of the movies I was hoping from some of the trailers that I saw, because obviously I looked at the trailers for this one. I was expecting more. I thought it was going to be a little more high octane with some of the action and stuff. And like I said, there's plenty of action and it's here. It wasn't on the level I fully expected. Like the first fight of the movie is very messy, which is fine. Not everything has to be a very cool choreographed fight. It's a lot of falling on the ground and 5 people on top of one person and just kicking and flipping all over the place, and it's sloppy, it's messy, and at first I was like, oh, if this is how the whole movie's going to be. But then I realized it's each scenario just kind of had its own thing. But I think it's a fun movie for what it is. But it's like it is weird. It is quirky, strange.
I think if you're into the Asian cinema thing and Japanese thing, and
it has a very anime, live action anime vibe to it.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
that's why I think if you're into that, you're gonna like it.
Yeah, I don't.
If you're not, or if you're those people that doesn't read subtitles, don't even.
I'm sure there's a dubbed version, but
I'm sure
we didn't watch the Blu-ray.
I just, you know what? One of the things I've noticed though with the dubbed version is you don't get all of the things as the subtitles. The subtitles sometimes provide you more context than the dubbed version because it's very plain. Because they've gotten someone in that country to do the English version, typically.
Yeah, well, and it's always 3 different translations. You have what they're actually saying, what gets translated through the subtitles, and what gets translated through the dub.
Audio. Yeah, and the dub I found is just not as great.
You don't always know. Like I've watched movies that were from the, like you said, from the subtitles and the dubbed, and they're 2 different storylines sometimes.
Yeah, and I sometimes find the dub to be better. So, but I mean, I guess I'm used to it because. You know, there was that time when we went back in the day when you go to Blockbuster, and I rented like every Asian movie. I just went down the row and like.
And the U.S. releases most of the time were either already dubbed or automatically subtitled. No option.
Yeah, because it was a VHS tape.
Yeah. You couldn't choose.
Do you remember VHS?
VHS is a video cassette.
Lord have mercy. Anyways, Baby Assassins. How do I find this?
It's currently on Blu-ray and DVD, but there's also a streaming service called Hiya.
Hiya.
Which is a streaming service
cool.
Wellgo USA, who is the distributor for this. They are the premier distributor for Asian cinema, but also horror films and some other foreign action films, not just Asian cinema. But it's only like $3.99 a month, something like that.
It's awesome.
And this movie came on there before it came out on Wellgo USA, before it came out on Blu-ray. But they also have older stuff. So like, there's a couple old Cynthia Rothrock movies fixing to hit. Every movie that they put out is on Hiya, as well as a lot of old stuff. So I highly recommend it. I got it. I pay for it. It's not a free service. I've been doing stuff with Wellgo USA for years, because I found out their main office was not 20 minutes from us. And
they do all the Asian stuff that, I mean, we love Asian cinema.
Well, I found them
trying to get to watch
back
those
when
things.
I first started doing reviews and getting towards our own website, right before I even started doing the Examiner. I found this movie I wanted to watch. It was a martial arts flick. And, you know, you just look at who puts it out. And I looked at Wellgo and I reached out to them. They commented back and forth. And I realized, are you here? This place? You know, I'm not going to say where it's at, but are you in this place? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, can I just come pick the copy up from you? You're like 20 minutes from me. They're like, yeah, absolutely. So I drove over to their offices, and I've been to their offices many, many times and become, have a great relationship with them.
They're nice people.
They've gotten a lot bigger because they go through PR firms now. So I don't deal with them directly as much as I used to. But they put out some awesome stuff. So
really good.
Even if it's not just this, you have Hiya, or just look up the archive of Wellgo USA and look at all the movies they put out. They do the home releases of It Man and everything else. So I highly recommend them.
All right. Next movie. Where do we want to go? There's so many options.
Okay.
You want me to talk about my movie?
Sure.
Okay. So the new release on Netflix this week was the 3rd entry in the 365 Days saga.
This crap's not over yet.
The first movie was 365 Days. Earlier this year, we got part 2, which was 365 Days This Day. And part 3 has come out already again this year because they were actually filmed back to back, because that's just what they did. So this movie is the next 365 days.
I feel like I've been hearing about this movie for 365 days.
I know. So in the first entry, we meet Laura and Massimo. He kidnaps her and says, "You're going to fall in love with me."
Is this a Hispanic film?
No, it's Italiano.
So this is basically Italian 50 Shades of Grey kind of thing.
Actually, okay. It's a Polish book. The girl in the show is Polish.
Okay.
And they speak a lot of Polish throughout. And the writer of this book was 365 Days is Polish. It is a Polish book. There is no English translation, but it is dubbed as the Polish 365.
Gotcha. But it has. But I know it's not the same story. I know it's not the same story.
In the same vein.
This is a movie that will be on Showtime in the middle of the night.
Correct, because it's like Skinamax
Yeah.
back in the day. Oh goodness. Okay, so she gets kidnapped, and I mean, surprisingly, she falls in love with him. But you find out he's like a mafioso, so very dangerous to be in love with this guy.
Are we still on the first one?
That's the first one.
Jesus Christ.
It ends on a cliffhanger. I don't want. Should I spoil it?
No, just.
It ends on a cliffhanger. So part 2, I expected earlier this year, would pick up from there. It just moves on like days, weeks later, and we never even talk about what happened then. And I'm like, really? And then finally, like an hour or so into the movie, they mention it. And I was like, okay, at least we're in the same movie. Now we get to part 3. I was okay, part 1 actually followed the book very well.
I already don't want to see this just from your frustration of telling me about it.
Part 1 followed the story very well. I did some research since there is no English translation, but lovely people in Poland who speak English did tell us that it is close to it. Part 2, really no substance or story, just sexy time all over the place. So we get to part 3, and I was like, okay, is part 3 going to be the one that brings it home, has a decent story, as well as the sexiness? And it's okay, my friends. Part 3 is now the love triangle. Laura's still, with her husband Massimo, but they have issues because of something that happened in the middle of part 2, which we barely talk about in this one. And Nacho, who in part 2 kidnapped her, but now she's in love with him. So she obviously has an issue. Anytime someone kidnaps her, she falls in love with them.
Did she ever say, "I'm nacho cheese"?
No, but they're both warring mafioso families. Of course.
It would have been way better if the other guy's name was Cheese. Was
Here's the thing. This is just really to lure you in to watch these pretty kind of dramatic and unrealistic sex scenes. It's for probably the older housewives that are like, ooh, Massimo so hot, ooh, Nacho so hot. I think that's really the intended audience. I'm assuming it's going to skyrocket soon and be one of the top 10 movies on Netflix. I mean, how can it not be? And with that, hopefully we get another part. This is one of those where it looks like they took the third book and put it in half, because part 3 ends on a cliffhanger too.
Oh, so we got to do more of this?
So I'm assuming there may be. There are only 3 books, so I would think there's 3 movies, but like they do, they take the last one and break it up into pieces. So there could be a part 4, because this one ends and we really don't even know who's going with who at the end of this whole thing.
Do we care though?
I don't know. I wanted to be so excited about this. The first one was steamy and hot and romantic, and it had a story.
It could have been too steamy hot because I did not get anything out of it.
Well, but then part 2 and part 3, it's just like blatantly sex for sex sake, but there's no story. So I don't know if that puts it into another film genre that we don't discuss on this show.
Hey, what I can say is one of the things that I was like, I've never seen these movies and I'll never watch it because it just sounds horribly dumb. But the 50 Shades movie, like I've seen that series. And for a movie that's about sex, essentially, and
those people are not
S&M
sexy.
and all this stuff, and technically it's an abusive relationship, but
this one is too.
It's the most unsexy series I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Is this series at least sexier? Like it feels sexy, I guess.
Yes, this does feel sexy, especially
like kind of gets y'all hot and bothered by watching it.
Yeah, it's sexy. And people were actually, there's always been speculation since the beginning that the 2 main people were actually having sex for real. Like, and that they had a relationship, because that's how much chemistry they actually have. Unlike 50 Shades of Grey, where
God forbid them just be good actors.
Yeah, well, they said they're just both good actors. But, I mean, in 50 Shades of Grey, I don't think either one of them even liked each other.
Well, so, I mean, I love Dakota Johnson. She's a great actress.
She just wasn't good in that, to me.
But I don't know.
Whatever.
Those movies are the most unsexy films.
Yeah, these are sexy films, but no story.
All right.
So there you go. The next 365 days. Who knows what's going to happen.
While you're watching that on Netflix, I was watching He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Yes, you were. I heard you.
This is the new show.
Last night, all I heard was, I have the power By the power of Grayskull.
I was also watching it in
What was
here in the theater room, so it was
I know.
booming
That's
sound.
why I heard it
and
out
I had
there.
it cranked down as much as I could.
Oh, it didn't matter.
And so I asked
Was
her.
She-Ra in there? Because I thought I heard
No.
She-Ra.
Okay, so I wasn't going to talk about the show, but no, She-Ra's not in there.
I heard a female voice.
Yes, they have other female characters besides She-Ra.
I don't know. It's just
there's
Princess
Tila,
of Power.
and there's all these other ones.
But
anyway,
Tila doesn't get the power of Grayskull.
Okay, so now I got to tell about this show. So this is not the original series.
Oh, this is a new one.
Okay, so there's 2 new He-Man series.
Oh.
There's Masters of the Universe, it's the Kevin Smith series, which is it's not anime, but it's more of a traditional animation kind of show, and it's a great show. It's the one that pissed everybody off because He-Man's barely in it.
I see.
Tila is the main character in that show. And if you've never watched it, we need to rewatch because the new season is going to come anyway.
I haven't seen it.
Because the whole premise of that show is He-Man supposedly dies fighting Skeletor. It's like their final confrontation. It's almost like supposed to be the continuation of the original show.
Gotcha.
Even though the animation is slightly different.
Yeah,
that's a lot different. But He-Man supposedly dies, so the whole show is about Tila. Everybody got mad. How are you going to make a He-Man show with no He-Man? I'm like, the show is called Masters of the Universe, not He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Correct.
And it builds towards He-Man and all that kind of stuff. This show is a reimagining of the series of He-Man. It's its own entity, but it's a different take. It's I don't want to say it's steampunk, but it's a CGI type show, and it's also more bigger variety of characters. So like, are you looking it up?
Yes.
It's called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Not Masters of the Revolution.
This one? 2021?
Click on yeah, that's it. So that's what He-Man looks like.
This is interesting.
So this show is geared towards kids,
little kids,
more. Where the new Kevin Smith one's geared towards the people that watch the original show. It's the older audience. But this show, it took me a little while to get into it because seeing the designs and the way they do it, it's a little weird, bulky. Everybody has like little legs and gigantic bodies.
Yeah.
But I got sucked in because the characters are cool. The new takes on it. But what you were hearing with the girls saying that is the little team of Man-at-Arms and Tila and all them are all connected to the Grayskull and their powers. So they all have like their own enhancements now. Yeah. So there's He-Man and Prince Adam. And again, to make them look like 2 different people, not the same guy, just with different clothes on. Still never understood how they didn't see Prince Adam just because he wore a pink shirt. He was Arnold Schwarzenegger. But like there's this one girl who she powers up and she's like this fast kid. So she got this helmet that has this weird crystal thing with jets on the helmet. Oh, cool. And like she almost like she rollerblades, like she rams crap. You know,
sounds interesting.
Man-at-Arms is like the tech guy fixing things, but when he turns it almost like an Iron Man type thing. So they all have their own powers, and it's almost like a Power Ranger thing when they'll all say it at the same time and they'll show them all on the screen.
I say so all together. They're like,
yeah, but they're also individual. Gotcha. They don't always power up together. They can do their own thing, but they're all connected to the sword.
Okay, I got you.
But you have Skeletor and you have Trap Jaw.
I'll have to watch it. I don't know any of these characters.
Yeah, I'm a huge He-Man fan, and I remember, I don't even know if you caught me when I told you when I was leaving. I said, I got to go. They just mentioned Triclops, which is a character I used to love. He looked like a samurai, right? Yes. But he had this little twisty thing in his head. It had these little single eye and a Cyclops eye. And he looked like a samurai with a single eye. And so they were like, get me the Triclops. It was the end of an episode. And when I came out, I was like, I got to go. Triclops is coming.
Okay. This is what you do.
Then Manny Faces showed up. Stratus showed
nice.
Up. Anyway, cool. So anyway, I'm all sucked into that. So what's funny about it though is I hadn't watched it in a long time.
Yeah.
And so when I was trying to find right now, when we're off season shows, I go back and catch up on everything I've kind of half finished. So I finished Sweet Tooth. So when I was on Netflix, the He-Man popped up. I said, "Oh, yeah, it says new season." I said, "Oh, I need to go and finish." So I thought I'd finished the first season. It said season 3. I was like halfway through season 1.
Oh wow!
So I haven't even got to watch the new season. I'm in season 2 now, trying to watch it and watching the Orville new season of the Orville.
Oh, cool.
So anyway, sorry.
All right,
I digress.
All right, next movie. We're talking about this.
Which one?
The one that's on the screen.
All right, so the next one is one that we should have talked about it a while back. Got behind, didn't have time to get to it. It's a movie called I'm Charlie Walker. It's a true story starring Mike Coulter. Clearly someone's a fan. And I don't think it's of his acting. Most might know him now from the show Evil.
Yes,
but he was previously kind of broke out in Marvel's Luke Cage on Netflix. And who knows if he'll be coming back, because it seems to be they may be bringing all those characters back in some fashion. Anyway, this movie is basically about this true life story. This guy Charlie Walker, who was a truck driver, and it took place during the 70s of the big oil spill. And he's trying to find his way to build his own career, trying to get out of under other people's thumbs to start his own business. And he happens to be doing it around the same time this oil spill happens, when the two cargo things collided in real life. There's a real thing that happened.
There's a true story.
And so he helps get the contract to help clean up one of the beaches, and through a lot of like twists, turns, scams, shadiness, cleverness, but also navigating the time period of racism and everything else in between. So that's kind of what the movie is.
There you go.
And when knowing the premise of what the movie is, I remember this happened in 71, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I wasn't born when it happened, but I remember reading about it years later when there was one of those other oil spills, saying, "Oh, this is as bad as when this happened."
Yeah.
So I knew of this thing, but I didn't know anything about the cleanup processes and all this stuff. But knowing the idea of this and dealing with the time and knowing there's probably going to be these racial undertone stuff they were going to be dealing with on top of it, I actually thought it was going to be a heavier movie.
Correct.
But it has heavy moments, but it's actually kind of light, and it's kind of funny at times. It almost has a made-for-TV feel to me, like something could be on Lifetime or your TV movie of the week kind of mentality. It's not a bad quality; it's just that kind of thing. But it's got more moments of than it really got cringe, of the racism stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it does deal with racism at the time. I mean, that was his struggle at the beginning of the movie. Is his wife was like, just go lay bricks with the other black guys in the community because you got a job that you'll make money. And he's like, I don't want to lay bricks. I don't want to do that. I want to own my own company. So he gets this dump truck and he goes every morning to try to get jobs. And every morning they call him the N-word and tell him to go away. But, eventually because of this oil spill, they don't have enough truckers and they don't have enough people willing to go to this one part of the beach because there's only one little way in and out. Nobody's going to do it. So he gets the job.
He kind of lies his way in.
Yeah. But the thing that was crazy to me is obviously because the oil companies need to cover their tracks, they give them blank purchase orders and they're like, money's no object, get anything you need. People, trucks, equipment, whatever you want, they'll pay for it. So he's like, heck yeah. So through those means, he does this, but he also figures out the system.
He figures out the system. He actually comes up with some good ideas.
He does help,
but they're good ideas that came up after a scamming moment of trying to extend the deadlines, keep essentially bullshitting his way through the job.
But he does get the beach clean.
But he does make it happen because he says he sees an opportunity, and then after he sees the opportunity, he's like, oh, what if we do this with this? So he does everything kind of ass backwards. He doesn't have a plan. He formulates a plan after something presents itself, and he uses that to make more money. And he does a lot of these shady deals. Yes, some of them are illegal, but it wasn't like criminal intent. It was, here's a way to make some money on the side that has nothing to do with taking and stealing money from someone else, but in turn ends up helping the cleanup process. Some of them were genius. Like there's one element
smart.
that's
like,
not really
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, there's one that's not really a spoiler, but he meets with a contractor, a road contractor, and they're like, "What are you talking to this guy?" He's like, "Well, he's going to buy all the dirt that's filled with all the oil off the beach, the sand and stuff, because that's considered toxic waste." Mm-hmm. Like, you can't sell that as toxic waste. He goes, "To us, it's toxic waste. To these people, it's oil and dirt and everything they use to do the asphalt on the streets. So I'm going to sell this stuff to them. Doesn't this belong to no?" He goes, "The oil does, but it's on the beach. The beach doesn't belong to anybody." So that's one of those gray area deals that he's making side money on something that, depending on how you look at it, could be illegal, but it could also be, like just selling dirt out of your front yard.
Correct. But then the other part of that was that he was very smart and paying attention to what all of the executives at the company were doing. And they were doing shady deals too.
Yeah.
So he was just doing what they were doing. It's just that it was super dangerous for him because he was the only black contractor at the time. and it could have all come down on him.
Yeah, and he was smart to jump in front of like cameras first, so they couldn't get rid of him because then they'd look racist, And on top of that, they had the oil spill. Then they'd be the racist people that getting rid of the guy who's actually making a difference. But he was also, I think, one of the smart things is like the guy that he initially kind of subcontracted for was a company that always turned him down. He did some stuff to them, kind of in a revenge for the way they treated him. Got them a contract with those people because they were like, we can't keep dealing with this guy.
Yeah.
It was kind of a leave us alone deal. But he ends up getting them a ton of work, kind of on a backhanded thank you, in my opinion, of made sure that they were included because they gave him this work because he knew he could get stuff from them. But I think there was also kind of a gray area thank you for giving them their start,
Yeah.
by making sure that specific company got to make money and that specific company got to be involved,
Dogs all over the place. Sorry.
But anyway, there's a lot of those moments, and there's always my favorite, and I love these kind of movies, and especially what's going to happen, but the end of the movie, there's this whole one step ahead of you arc where throughout the whole movie what you may not have even known was this character was one step ahead of this character, and there's always been some plan formulated to cover their tracks and to do something and this and that and so it's a great tone of just a normal two thing people having conversations. It's not a big dramatic moment, but it was sad to see when you get your proper ending.
Yes.
Of that
what happened.
He ended up having to do some jail time years later for, I guess, other stuff involved in that.
It was all kind of connected to this time, but he's the funniest part. I don't want to spoil it, but it's so funny. This little man is so cute because he's an older man now, and he's like, "Yeah, we used the money. I used it for my family. I used it to buy a house." He goes, "Why shouldn't I? They were doing the same thing." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, because there's a whole thing of some of the money disappears. And that was some of that money that he didn't think was really illegal. He was doing the business.
Yep.
But because
he did the exact
it was only illegal because of the way the contractors, IRS, and Work Commission made it illegal because of the way they require you to handle money, even though he hired volunteers. Like, well, you're a business now. You have to pay this and you have to do this. And this money disappeared. And so what she's talking about is it cuts to the real life guy.
So
and they interview me like, so what did you do with the money? And so the answer you expect is something like, what money? I didn't have any of the money, because that's how a normal person, but he kind of laughed like he was going to say that.
Yeah.
And then he said what you said, I bought a house. I took care of my family. My kids went to school. And, so it was funny. Then you get the proper thing of what happened.
Great. It's a great movie, though.
Years later. It is good. It is, like I said, it feels independent a little bit. But I enjoyed it way more than I expected to.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really good. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was good. You don't know.
It is a good movie.
I'm like, you don't know.
Anyway, and it's from Shout Factory.
Shout.
Technically Shout Studios, but that's the offsuit movie studio for Shout Factory.
All right.
Anyway, check it out. It's available now on DVD.
Okay.
It's probably in select theaters too. I don't know.
Next, what do you want to talk about? We got that, or we got this girl?
Let's talk about that one first.
This one?
That one up
this
there.
one?
Yeah, because that was another older one. This
goodness, we're behind.
That came out like last week or something.
Oh, I've been wanting to watch this. This is the new movie with Owen Wilson, Secret Headquarters, where his son stumbles upon the fact that his dad is a superhero.
And this is like, and if I remember correctly, this is Owen Wilson's second foray into the superhero genre.
Oh.
Is, he was on Loki, but he wasn't actually a superhero in Loki. This time around, he gets to get in on the action. I will tell you this is not an Owen Wilson movie.
No.
It's very much like a lot of these kind of films where he has a big part at the beginning, big parts in the second half or the final act or whatever. But this movie is actually about the kids.
Correct.
It's very much in the tone of Spy Kids.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Even what is that? Superhero High, I think it was with Kurt Russell.
Yes, and Wonder Woman.
This is a family film. This is a kids film. It's not super like stupid kiddie stuff, but it's
fun.
It's a superhero flick, but it's for the kids or for the families kind of.
Yeah, thing. It's a family movie. I thought it was really cute. I mean, the funniest thing to me is Owen Wilson being a superhero, because I mean, if you just look at him, he looks like a funny dude. He didn't look like a
Well, and the
superhero, but they have his
connection-
hair all fluffed
Well,
out.
that even the connection of what he uses for his suits,
Yes.
the design that makes him super nerdy.
Yes. Oh
the
my
fanny pack
gosh.
thing.
He's the
There's a whole
best.
fanny pack gag in this movie. That's
Fanny packs are coming back,
they shouldn't.
but people wear them like this way instead of fanny pack.
I know. I have a couple of my seniors that wear fanny packs.
But they're seniors.
Yeah.
They're probably still.
I don't
really
think they ever
wearing
went
them.
out. Yes, they are.
Oh goodness.
I don't think they ever went away. But
wow. Anyways, I thought the movie was really cute. You know, normally it's sometimes you worry if you're going to be annoyed by a bunch of kids in a movie, but these kids were actually really cute. I like that we have a good variety and mix of children working together for a common goal. And my favorite, I think, is the little blonde girl because she's just so oblivious to the world. You know, because she's just walking around on her phone with her cat headphones, just chilling out.
well, all she can think about is homecoming.
Yes. And then suddenly bad guys appear and she's like, eh! She just like does this. Whereas the other kids are kind of like the more, I don't know, the fighting kind of kids that are ready to, you know, jump into action.
So the majority,
I identify with her. I'd be like, ah!
So the majority of the film is, and it's very aptly titled because the entire premise, as she said, was, you know, the son doesn't know that his dad's a superhero, so they have a strained relationship. His dad's always gone, blah, blah, blah. A lot of the story is kind of cliched, normal stuff you've seen a billion times before. But they discover this secret headquarters of his dad, you know. But so there's a big chunk of the movie that is literally just the kids playing with all the technology and the weapons and stuff.
What kids would do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's finding that stuff at
too.
school and then taking stuff to school they shouldn't be taking to school and trying things. But that actually sets up some actually pretty clever moments.
Yeah.
There's one specific piece of technology that's kind of a portal thing that they do some really fun stuff with. And it doesn't turn all the kids into superheroes, which I was glad for because a lot of these movies like to suddenly give them outfits and make them all badasses.
Not necessary.
And they're clumsy and falling all over the place and get beat up all the time. But they're doing clever things with these things they find, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. You know, but the most ridiculous part of the whole movie is actually Michael Pena's character, who is the villain. And if anything, for me, I love Michael Pena. I think he's funny, and I thought he had some funny moments in this. I think he's the one that kind of dumbed the movie down. Like the movie could have been one of those clever family adult superhero flicks that everybody would love, but I think his comedy part of it is the part that, not that he's bad.
No,
it keeps taking it to kind of a stupid level.
I see.
You know what I mean? Because he does a lot of just like really dumb. It's dialogue more so than anything being funny. And like there's one thing with this whole thing about him being hot, which is funny, but it gets to be a little too much for me. But it's also the context of the type of movie they're making.
Correct. And I don't think we're the target audience.
No.
So, I mean, for younger adult children, I don't know what to call these. Teens?
I think kids are
tweens.
Teens and younger. Teens
even
and younger.
The thing anymore?
I don't know.
I deal with toddlers.
I don't know. We might get canceled. I don't know if that's something we're allowed to say anymore. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. I assume everything gets you canceled now.
Sorry.
I assume everything's wrong now.
Hashtag my bad. I don't know. I thought it was a cute little movie. It's a good family film, and it's available on Paramount Plus.
Yes.
So check it.
Check it out. It's got some of the effects a little clunky, but most of them are actually pretty
most
well
of
done.
it's pretty good.
There's a couple of moments, but overall, it is very much a Spy Kids, but a different story. Just that idea,
that tone.
Yeah.
All right, now
I love the first Spy Kids, mind you. I love that first movie.
Do.
The other ones,
I know you and the kids loved it.
I mean, my kids.
We're going on to my favorite movie this week.
Is it?
It was my favorite of what we watched this week.
Right,
yes.
Fair enough.
This is the new movie Orphan: First Kill,
which is in fact a prequel to the 2009?
I believe so. I will go look it up.
Orphan. It's in the review. I wrote the
Orphan. There it is.
If you look at the review, it says on the
you're asking way too much.
From the film Orphan, which if you haven't seen Orphan,
I think it makes
it's better to watch the first Orphan first. Even though this one's a prequel, I think this is important because there's the major twist is in the original. Correct. The twist is gone in the second one because they do something different.
Correct. It's a different twist, which I loved.
This isn't the normal kind of prequel where you can jump in and then it's a cohesive story to get to the next one.
So please watch Orphan first. So Orphan, you're correct. It was 2009. It's a story of this little girl named Esther that gets adopted from an orphanage. Supposedly she came from Russia. Something tragic happened to the family she was with, so she's up for adoption. This beautiful, lovely couple adopt her, and that's when things go crazy.
And you can look at her and tell things are not going to go okay.
Because the tagline, something's wrong with Esther.
That's right.
There is something very wrong.
So the second movie dives, and we're going to we have to walk on eggshells because I don't want to spoil it people that haven't watched the first one.
Correct.
So one of the big things is Esther in the original movie is 10, 11 years old. And Isabella Furman, who plays her, was that age at the time. In the new movie,
go ahead. And by the way, she got so much critical acclaim for this for a 10-year-old to do that movie because she was amazing.
She's creepy, and there's some little bit of inappropriate.
Yeah, but she was so good. Anyways, continue. So
now we jump so many 13 years or so ahead.
Yeah,
and we're making a prequel for a movie
with the same girl,
the same actress playing the same 10, 11-year-old girl 13 years later. So they had to do some de-aging. They had to do what I call Hobbit filming, where they put people on boxes to make people taller.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised it actually worked really well.
It did. I mean, there's this one thing.
There's moments you can tell that she's a little older, really.
Some of the things around the eyes, I think, because that's where you see it. But I think overall it was good. There's this one scene, because you told me that like Julia Stiles was up on a thing and on platforms and stuff and different things. But there's this one scene where they're talking and then she walks away and it's like seamlessly, you can't tell.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's moving shots of people.
Well, if you ever want to see a really cool take on how to shoot something like that with a bunch of little people and tall people, but everybody's actual normal size.
Yes, you got to watch the behind the scenes
for Elf.
Oh yes, that was so funny. Where he's sitting on his lap,
the movies that made us, and it's perspective shooting where they sit somebody here and they sit him here, but then the way they line it up, they look like they're way bigger, even though they're the same size.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it's amazing.
So there's a major twist in the original movie. So when you get into this new movie, it's already known. It's not. You
kind of know what it is. You know what's wrong with Esther.
Yeah. So. I was really concerned with already knowing that, because that's part of what makes that what kind of moment. It's the sleepaway camp twist. Yes, that. I was hoping you do that.
I will. Anytime you mention it.
So how can we actually go back and really do much with this without, because the twist is there already. Like, even if she does it again, the impact is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a whole different twist in this film.
Oh my gosh.
It tells us almost the same type of story, but then there's this major twist in a different direction altogether that makes it fresh, gives the same formula, and the damn thing actually works.
It is so good, you guys. Oh my gosh, this movie is so good.
I'm not as ecstatic about it as she is, but it is a good movie.
I like creepy movies. It's not scary. So one of my friends, I don't know if you're still watching, gets all like, I don't like scary movies. It's not scary. It's just creepy, and I like it.
It's more of I think it falls in the horror thriller category.
And I love me some Julia Stiles, by the way. I always have. I will watch.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because she didn't know Julia Stiles was in this new one, and I had told her.
I didn't pay attention.
As always.
As always.
And it's funny, she was looking at because we watched them back to back because we hadn't seen Orphan since it came out. So both of them are on Paramount Plus.
Correct.
And so we went back and Orphan First Kill did come out at the theater, but it also was on Paramount Plus. They did a limit release and then this at the theater. But we did a back-to-back showing of it, and when you went and looked up the new one to kind of get ready for it, you're like, Julia Stiles is in this?
I'm like, heck yeah.
So in. I'm
in, man.
I'm like, yes, I know, dear. That's why I knew you were going to be into this.
Come get up here.
So, okay, just let him just do whatever
he's just wandering. He's being weird today. I'm worried.
Anyways,
maybe so, because it's gonna rain. Anyways, Orphan First Kill. It's so good. There are twists and turns along the way. So if you've seen the first one, don't worry. It's something different, but fresh.
And there's a lot of little nuances that
you find out stuff. Yeah, for the second.
From the original movie. That's why it's also important to watch the first movie, is because it tells why she does certain things, certain music, things you kind of discover that in this movie.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
But it also. I read that there's even potential to do another one that's a sequel to this one. So there's still time between this movie and the next movie to do something. And so now that they've been able to pull it off, they could probably easily
get up there, baby.
Do something else if they wanted to. But
I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know. I enjoyed it too. This is a hard movie to talk about because everything's a spoiler.
Don't want to spoil, but it is really good. Go watch it right now.
If you have seen the original Orphan, you know what we're talking about. And I think anybody that likes the original Orphan would like this one.
Correct.
If you don't like the original Orphan, you won't like this one.
Well, what was wrong with you?
It's just kind of the same tone.
Because I liked it.
Yeah, so I think I applaud her for being willing to take on this.
You know what? This would be a cool Halloween costume. It'd be easy to do.
But she's not brown.
Well, I'm technically not either. I've been lightening up since I don't go outside anymore.
You're not. Is that what y'all were doing at dinner the other night?
Yeah, we were.
You're not any lighter. You're the same.
No, but my face, and my chest.
That's because you put too makeup.
No, but it's the same color as my chest. This is my. Now my legs are brown because my legs are always out. Anyways, check it out, Orphan and Orphan First Kill on Paramount Plus.
I believe that's where.
Go watch it right now. Okay, that's all the movies we had on our list, babe.
Yeah, our giveaway. Oh, we're not doing that yet, right?
No.
I gotta do our other stuff. There's not a lot coming out this week
on the
Blu-ray or anything. Some of the big ones are really more. It's all re-release stuff. Outside of like the first season of Naomi, which is the DC CW series that got canceled, I think, after the first season.
Oh, that's too bad.
Is it though?
Yeah, that's sad.
That show's coming out the first or complete series, whatever they want to call it. But there's a lot of re-release stuff, like Dog Soldiers is getting a 4K release, which I requested it, but I don't know if we're getting it because that's one of my favorite werewolf movies of all time. Dirty Dancing's 30th anniversary, I think it is.
Is my Dirty Dancing.
The Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, I think it's his 35th
that.
Anniversary.
Wow.
Is coming out.
Didn't Mackenzie like that one?
Yeah, I believe so. I remember seeing that one at the theater.
It's her child.
Then there's like I said, it's all re-releases of a lot of stuff. Delta Force, Death Warrant.
Wow.
A lot of really like older movies.
That's kind of cool.
Death Wish 3, Lone Wolf McQuade. You know, so there's not a lot of new stuff. I'm sure there's something that's not on these lists that'll creep in, but for the most part, it's a lot of older stuff.
Okay.
So,
well, coming out online or in theaters or
the classified, that is a big release.
This.
Yeah.
So starting today, many of you may already be streaming this, but available now on HBO Max is the prequel drama House of the Dragon, which is the prequel to Game of Thrones, which many people watched and were all into, and this is about House Targaryen.
It's like, I believe it's 300 years
dragons
before, so you're done with all the dragons.
Yeah, so if you're into that,
the Khaleesi's family.
Yes, the Khaleesi family. Okay, coming out on Tuesday on video demand and digital is a movie called The Runner. It's an action thriller about a high school student that
runs.
He gets charged with drug possession, but then they use him as an informant, which to me doesn't make any sense if you're a high school student. You're not even an adult. So I don't even know if this movie is legit or not, but it's a drama. So what do we know? Coming out on Wednesday and Netflix is Running with the Devil, The Wild World of John McAfee. This is a documentary. If you know McAfee, the antivirus guy, okay, this is that guy. Well, unbeknownst probably to the population at large, he was using the antivirus office to actually get information on people, and he had secrets on everyone in the whole world.
This guy and is living on his yacht out in the
he was on the run. And he was just all over. So
I know about this guy.
He allowed people to follow him, go with him on the journey.
Oh, I know.
And it's insane.
He'll tell you where he's at.
So this is that documentary all put together. All right, coming out.
There's two movies I'm excited for.
Okay, coming out on Friday. I'm going to start at the bottom and work our way up because I want to make sure all the others get fair play.
They don't deserve it.
Okay, coming out on video demand and digital. This is interesting. I don't really know anything about this.
It's interesting, but I don't know.
No, I don't know anything about like this world, but I'm sure it would be really interesting. It's a movie called Kai. It's a documentary based on Kai Green, who was a world champion bodybuilder. And like even Schwarzenegger was like holding him up and handing him a trophy. And
he's the one that got sick, right?
I believe so. So it's about his journey to become a bodybuilder. Things that happened to him later in life. His rival to become Mr. Olympia.
I think he's the one that had the big braid.
Yes, he has the big long braid thing. So very, very large, muscular black man with like these. But you know, it's such a a art, I guess, in itself to get every little detail
Yeah.
popping. It's not just about bulk; it's like every detail. So
Yeah.
it looked really interesting. I watched the trailer for it. Like I was saying, I don't know anything about the world of professional competitive bodybuilding.
You don't with that figure. You don't.
Yeah, with all this,
She
but
knows the world of professional eating.
I can tell you where to find pie. But the movie is Kai Green.
She can tell you about pie, but so we're talking about Kai.
Yeah, so let's find that. This is interesting too. I don't know anything about this man, but coming to Prime Video on Friday is Untrapped, the story of Lil Baby, who's a rapper. Who,
is he though?
Well, babe, not your personal feelings about
is he though?
Aside. It's a documentary about his life when he went to jail, when he came out, and his desire to just, follow a straight path and become a great rapper.
Is he though?
So, do you not like his work?
I don't.
Okay, well, it's the story of his life.
What is that? Go back. I just want to with that. What is that funny page's name?
I don't know.
Glasses on. What's it about?
High school student cartoonist rejected.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. Then coming out on Netflix on Friday is a movie called Me Time. This is the one with Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg, where Kevin Hart is the stay-at-home dad that takes care of the kids, and Mark Wahlberg is this crazy friend who's having like his 40th birthday party and invites him, and craziness ensues. It's the one in the trailer where like the panther or whatever attacks Kevin Hart, and he's like, Mark
Wahlberg's like butt-ass naked at party.
Yes, so I think it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, I was like looking forward to that one.
Okay, on video demand and digital is this movie called In the Deep. A mysterious stranger sweeps this lady off her feet, but things go crazy because it becomes a dangerous liaison. He's not who he pretends to be, which, by the way, if you meet strangers and they sweep you off your feet, be very suspicious. I want to see this. It's a movie coming out to the theater called 3,000 Years of Longing.
Well, I have news for you then.
It stars a dog barking.
Stop.
Oh my goodness. Can you go deal with that? Come on, baby. It's okay. We're almost over. It's Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton is like I want to say a professor, but she's not. She's like a one of those. Oh, shoot.
Anyway, it's about a lady that finds
no, shush.
We've seen the trailer. It tells you that.
Okay, but I want to tell you what she is. An academic professor type person.
Why was that so important?
Because she finds a bottle that unleashes a genie who is Idris Elba with cute little genie ears. But she's like very suspicious about the three wishes because being an academic professor, she knows that when you make a wish, something's going to go wrong. You have to pay the consequences.
And the movie is directed by George Miller, who did the Road Warrior and Mad Max and all those movies. So I'm very excited for this one.
So
have you even seen the trailer for this?
I did. Okay. I watched it. It's the cautionary tale of what would you do if you had three
Technically,
wishes.
I have a screening for this on Tuesday.
Nice.
But I got to see if we can go or not.
Okay.
You can go even if
I probably could.
This one I'm excited for.
The next movie is called Samaritan. It's also going to be in theaters. It is the...
No, it's not.
It says in theaters.
No, it's not. That's wrong. It's an Amazon Prime exclusive. It's
coming to Amazon. Sorry, not that. Prime Video exclusively. It is the new Sylvester Stallone superhero movie, but it's called a dark, fresh take on the superhero genre because it is very much kind of has a dark tone, like a superhero that doesn't want to be a superhero.
Yeah, it's about a guy who left being a superhero years ago.
Yeah.
And some kid finds out he's living near him
And then this I do want to watch. It says it's in theaters. It's called The Invitation. It's a woman attends a lavish destination wedding, but then unexpected horrors start to happen. So that made me think about the invitation we got. We got a wedding invitation for people we don't know. They sent us the save the day and the invitation. It came here.
They
sent it to someone else, but our address. I reached out and told them, hey, you sent this to these people. They don't live here. So if you want to find them, if you want your family to come to your wedding, you better find them. So now I was like, we should just go to the wedding. I have an invitation. I'm here.
We got the save the date, and then we got the actual invitation.
Yeah. But I didn't RSVP, should I?
Maybe we should. I don't know.
But then this makes me think, okay, I'm going to go to a wedding and craziness will ensue. I don't want to get killed.
Did you not see this on the list? Is it supposed to come up? I zoomed past it, did you?
No.
Oh, it's due to come out on the 26th in theaters.
What's this called?
Called Breaking.
Nope. Not showing up at all.
No, just this.
Oh,
You're talking the studio.
nope. It's not even on this
Well,
page
it comes out
anywhere.
this Friday.
Okay, well, tell us about this.
It's a movie called Breaking, starring John Boyega and the late Michael K. Williams. It's kind of a Dog Day Afternoon kind of movie about this guy who's denied support for veterans, for veteran affairs, and he's finally desperate and running out of options of what he wants to do, whatever. So he actually takes a bank and it's a bunch of employees hostage.
Yikes!
And then it's based on a true story.
Oh gosh!
And then he's kind of at desperate standoff with the police, and he's like, I just need money, I just need to be taken care of, that kind of thing. It actually looks really, really good. And Michael K. Williams, who passed away, is this? I'm assuming this is one of his final films or whatever. So it's great to see.
Well, that's sad. Yeah, it's not even.
I don't know why it's not
I'm
showing
seeing
up,
if it's showing up next week.
It didn't say it was in limited release, so I'm assuming it's wide release.
Yeah, no, and I searched just the Google, and it says it's wide release on the 26th. So
who knows?
Sorry, that didn't show up on my list.
So the name of the movie is Breaking. Not Breaking to Electric Boogaloo.
That was Big Breaking.
Yeah, there it is out there too.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing it. Oh, well. All right, well there you go.
All right, is that pretty much everything on your side?
That's everything I got.
As far as the giveaways, it's all the same stuff. We don't have any new giveaways right now. There's supposed to be a couple coming in. Wrapping up some of the. I got to move them off here. The Jurassic Park stuff will end this week officially. Some of them would have been chosen, but they offered me a couple extras, so I'll be picking some new people. So if you won already, congratulations. If you haven't won already, there's another chance. So keep those things coming in, and we'll get these wrapped up. I can tell you, since you posted, I can go ahead and tell you which ones they are again. It's Baby Assassins, Edge of Tomorrow, digital copy of Jurassic World Dominion, Aquaman King of Atlantis, a Blu-ray copy of Jurassic World Dominion, and Green Lantern Beware My Might or Power or something like that.
Beware My Power.
So
Green Lantern's light.
Typically they end, but I'm required, just so you know how this works sometimes, a lot of the contests will end at a certain time, but then I'm required to keep it up for the studio so they can still reference it and see that it existed. So sometimes some of the contests will end, and I'll try to put a thing I'll try to go in on sometimes and put a note, this contest is now closed.
Yeah.
So that people go to, but the problem is most people don't read everything, which there's a lot of people. I've said this numerous times. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but you have to email me your entry. The email is on the front of the page. It says all this in every single contest that I post. I have some people that will comment on the contest with their answer. I have some people that will tweet it to me, and I see them. But when I go to pull stuff, I'm not going to see that. I'm going to see it because everybody's random. It's not picked on if you had the best answer or not. 90% of the contests we put out there, there's not a right or wrong answer. It's an opinion, and it's partially I do that because I don't want people to have knowledge of stuff they may not know about. I just like learning what people like, why they like it. And sometimes I've revisited something because of a contest. Somebody said, well, I really like this type of character because they did this, and maybe I didn't see them that way when I saw it. I'll go back and watch. It's like, oh, they are. Okay, I like them a little bit more, And other times, just seeing who likes the same things and what, the dinosaur. This one with the dinosaur was like, literally the thing was, tell me your favorite dinosaur and why.
Aww.
And so seeing everybody's reasoning, some were funny, some were like the T-Rex because they can't reach anything. I've had a couple people that like the Triceratops, and one of them liked the Triceratops, and then there's a whole thing about Sarah, which made me think of Land Before Time because my daughter was a huge fan of that.
Big water.
So
anyway, we know all about that.
Yeah. So if you look at there, scroll to the bottom of the contest, and it says this contest is now ended. Then it ends up becoming a placeholder for the next contest that's going to come, and so the studio can see that the contest actually existed, and I'm not just taking things and keeping them for myself.
There you go. All right. Well, that's it. Please check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Don't forget to go find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go like, thumbs up, send hearts, send stars, send everything. We love you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out, children.
Peace.